With draft day approaching, Matt and I have the ultimate inside scoop on who this season's must draft players are and much more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Oneil, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Oneil. And if you're guys, if you're listening, you might as well go over to, listening on Apple or Spotify, you might as well go over and give us a 5-star rating or review. We would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And guess what? You might as well take a screenshot of that rating and review, send it to us over on the Subtext platform, and you'll have a chance to join our coveted listener league for this upcoming season. Guys, there's only 4 spots left. We're giving them away on March 20th. Not a lot of time to get those entries in. So guys, make sure you get that done before then. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And guys, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. And guys, we're here. You might be drafting this weekend, next weekend. This is a can't miss episode. You need to watch all the way to the end. These are Matt and I's must draft breakout players for this season. And Matt, my brother, take it away.
All right. So this is one of our favorite episodes. There's not going to be a lot of disagreeing because a lot of the guys on here are the same. And this is only a little extent of it. There is more names on the subtext. So if you want a little bit more of like our secret hidden gem breakouts, subscribe on there. Check it out. But let's stop self-promoting. Let's get into the show. Let's talk about my boy Tanner Bibee. I can't stop drooling about all season. Probably going to end up being on my Guys episode as well. I love Bibee this season. Dude is just going to be an absolute stud. 6'2", 205, came into the league last year and just like a house on fire. I mean, he had a sub-3 ERA and 142 innings pitched. He had 141 strikeouts, and like the whip was still fantastic too at a 117. Like first year out against big league talent, and really just came up and stepped up to the plate. Quite honestly, like year 2 just looks absolutely bananas. Now, the only underlying stat that concerned me just a tad is his FIP, fielding independent pitching, which is like if he had an average defense behind him, which in my opinion is probably a below average defense. But anyway, was a 3.52. So even if like it returns to the mean, it's a half a run difference. Like, or even just like a quarter run, we meet in the middle between the two at a 3.25. Bibee walks away having a fantastic season this year. I think he goes 175 innings, 180 innings. I think he gets you well over 20 strikeouts this season. Dude has great stuff. He has a really nice, mid-90s fastball, nice, complimenting slider. His changeup gets a lot of strikeouts. The deception there is really good. I don't really talk about these kind of stats that often, but, it's something I want to highlight about, especially about a younger pitcher. He has a lot of stuff that complements his other pitching that helps his pitch mix, deception, and things. The only thing I hope is his chase rate goes up a little bit more to kind of complement and show off what I'm talking about. I think this year, he's going to get a little bit more, creative with his approach, and Tanner Bibee should be really good in 2024.
Yeah, Matt, strong take. I'm just going to add that right now, Bibee's coming off the board as the 31st starting pitcher, pick 106. I love him as an SP3. He's creeping into that SP2 territory, which is a little bit, rich for my blood, but he's the perfect SP3 in a 12-man league. Get him as your SP3, you're going to walk away happy. Matt highlighted, the reasons to love Tanner Bibee. He's, just turned 25 years old. Definitely going to be a staple in that Guardians lineup for years to come. But let's move on to this next guy, one of my guys, and Matt loves him as well. Like he said, we're going to agree a lot on this episode, and we're talking about Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez, absolute mountain of a man, came in, to the league last year and kind of didn't miss a beat. Was one of the most highly touted prospects coming up last year, for the Marlins. And, honestly, guys, if you were on subtext with us last year, Matt, I'll admit he was on point on that one, got that alert out right away. But, like I said, 6'8", 220, 20 years old for Yuri Perez. He's going to turn 21 in April. So last year as a 20-year-old, the 3.15 ERA across his 19 starts, 91 innings, 108 strikeouts, a 1.12 whip. Matt does talk, did mention FIP, ERA indicator. Didn't look great for Yuri at a 4.11, but doesn't really worry me too much. A couple of, that defense isn't, really great there behind Eury. Might look a little bit better this year, hopefully, but he's got the stuff to do it, to be an ace. Like I said, you don't ever see somebody come up that young at 20 years old and just dominate the way that he did. Sits around 98 with that fastball, gets up, touches 100 at times when he needs to, got that good slider that he mixes in as well. Also throws a curve here and there and mixes in a changeup. Those aren't, his most notable pitches, but just the fact that he's willing to throw them and keep hitters off guard is really, awesome to see. And just through his whole minor league career was, pretty dominant, and just love the kid. Think he's going to be really great. Good park to pitch in. Might not win a lot of games, so you got to keep that in mind. Eury is coming off the board, starting pitcher 25, pick 83. I think he's a good SP2. I think he's a little bit of a risky SP2? Yes, but definitely one that I'm not afraid to go out there and grab.
Yeah, it's with Perez himself, like, everybody kind of is like, okay, he's not going to pitch a lot of innings, but I still think he touches about $150. He had to be between bigs and minors last year. He hit 121. So, another 30 innings isn't something that is out of the norm for a year two pitcher. So I'm all about it. Also, too, his ERA is a little inflated as well because that month off kind of killed him when he had a few bad starts after being sent down for obviously inning concerns because it was a lot. And he came back and he had like a 5 ERA on the month of August, but then came back and fixed everything in September. So like Perez has just been a solid person. Plus on top of that, the league adjusted to him and then he adjusted back. All good positive aggression signs that Yuri Perez is going to be a fantastic fantasy asset this year. Let's move on. I'm going to move off trend for pitcher and I'm going to go Oneil Cruz. Another guy, both Dom and I like. Oneil Cruz is just somebody that, he's kind of like a must draft. He was a breakout last year for us, but unfortunately, my guy just forgot how to slide and things just didn't go right. But, Oneil Cruz just has the making of just being one of the best players in the league. 6'7", 215 pounds, really fast, really strong, really just amazing. He's definitely got about 20 stolen bases in his career, in a season, without a doubt. Upside. He's going to hit a monstrous amount of home runs. The only thing that's really lacking on him is the team around him. But with Brian Reynolds and, Jack Johnson possibly getting the call up, and Key Brian Hayes, being Mr. Consistent on getting on base and things like that, Oneil Cruz should be able to put up counting stats in both runs and ribbies just based off of the fact that, there's going to be at least those 4 guys that are going to be able to contribute to his production for fantasy. And I could really just see a path for this kid possibly turning out to be one of the top 24 players at the end of next season. So it's just going to be great.
Yeah, Matt, you're spot on. And this is honestly one that when Matt and I were doing our planning for today's episode, that when he brought up that he was going to take Oneil Cruz, it hurt a little bit inside. But it helps because Matt did trade me Oneil Cruz last year in one of our keeper leagues, so I'll take it. That I think it evens out. But everything Matt said, I second. Oneil Cruz is going to be an absolute unit this year, and I think you're selling him short on the speed a little bit there, Matt. In 2022, Oneil Cruz was in the 98th percentile of sprint speed, which just means he's super fast. And honestly, if if you one of my bold predictions, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek, might be Oneil Cruz can go 40-40 this year, because I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Oneil Cruz went 40-40. He's got the speed, he's got the power. The batting average might be the one thing that yet remains to be seen. But I will throw this out there too. This spring, Oneil Cruz is looking very good so far. He had 2 home runs the other day. But as of right now, 7 games for Oneil Cruz this spring, 18 at bats, 5 hits, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 1 steal, 4 walks to 4 strikeouts. I love that. And he's hitting 278. So all the upsides there, you're getting a bargain on him. Just real quick, check up on his ADP. Oneil Cruz, 13th shortstop, guys. Come on, we're better than this. 13th shortstop, pick 88. We got to do better than that, guys. Take him everywhere, and you won't regret it. But before we move on and talk about a young stud for the Cardinals, another young Guardians pitcher, and a couple of guys that got a lot of pop in their bats, we do have one quick ad for you.
PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of players, including pros and sharks. You pick more or less than 2 to 6 players, stats, projections, and watch the winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on PrizePicks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With just a few taps, you could transform $10 into $1,000. PrizePicks is incredibly user-friendly. You can make selections and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. As the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I got some rock-solid picks for you that you ain't going to want to miss out on. Opt for higher than 5 strikeouts per game for Logan Webb in a single game for Logan Webb. Choose higher than 0.5 for Ellie De La Cruz to get a stolen base, which, of course, that's a no-brainer. Consider a season-long pick for higher than 50 stolen bases for Bobby Witt Jr. That's a no-brainer as well. Dude's going to get 70. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Prize pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And Locked On has launched its first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. Also, guys, more importantly, introducing the Locked On Fantasy Sports Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Dive into this offseason with Dom and I as we provide you with tier-based rankings of over 100 outfielders and 100 starting pitchers. We go deep. You also have exclusive access to our prospect rankings, sleepers, breakout, bust, way more than on this episode. Personalized draft grades. And when you got questions, we got the answers. As the season unfolds, rely on our dynamic content and get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy leagues by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where your path to victory begins. Subscribe now and elevate that fantasy baseball experience to new levels. Plus, if you're going to do it, which you should, do not miss out on our rankings or anything of the sort going into draft weekend. You might as well give us a review, and you might as well send us a screenshot after you give them that review on Apple, and it'll get you in to the entry into the listener league. We're drawing next Wednesday. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on these expert rankings that are going to help you win these leagues. So do not miss out. Join today. That was a lot.
Matt, can I get that one on a hat? Locked on Fantasy Baseball. We go deep.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah, we do go deep. Oh man, that would be good.
I would say at this point, over 120 outfielders and starting pitchers each on Subtext. Guys, get on there. Come on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Chilling, man. But all right, let's stop self-promoting again. Let's get into it, man. I just gave off Oneil Cruz. Where you going, bro?
Yeah, let's go with somebody I know that we both love too. Let's talk the young Jordan Walker. You know, another young blood, 21 years old, outfielder for the Cardinals, 6'6", 250, absolute mountain of the man. I believe he started the year last year with like a 13-game on-base streak, was looking great. The Cardinals, they sent them down. They claimed it was his defense. I know he looked a little bit sloppy out there, but you kind of sometimes you got to let these guys go through those bumps and bruises in the majors. They opted not to do that. Sent them back down to the minors, and honestly didn't look great down there. But the Cardinals dealt with some injuries, brought him back up, and honestly, O'Neil. I'm still thinking about Oneil Cruz. Jordan Walker's numbers on the year didn't look that bad. 117 games, 420 at bats, 51 runs, 19 doubles, 2 triples, 16 homers, 51 RBI, 7 steals. The walk to strikeout ratio needs work, 37 walks to 104 strikeouts, but a 276 batting average. And that's one thing that translates when you look at the underlying stuff. The batting average looked legit. And Jordan Walker's super fast. Honestly, it was in the 80th percentile for sprint speed last year. So you got a guy that could go, honestly, I think 28, high 20 homers, maybe low 30s homers with, 25 steals. Going to give you a good batting average, and the runs and RBIs. Let's see. I think this Cardinals team's going to be better than last year. I hope Goldie and Nolan Arenado can be a little better than they were last year. And if guys like Gorman and, Jordan Walker, maybe Dylan Carlson finally takes a step forward too. And they got a bunch of young players there on that team. So hopefully Walker can take a step forward. And you're going to have a guy that potentially gives you a 5 category contribution. And right now, Jordan Walker is coming off the board bear with me a moment here. Outfielder 30, pick 129. I do like that. You're getting him outside of the top 100, almost your third outfielder in most leagues. I like it. I think there's upside here to profit off Jordan Walker, young blood who, highly touted prospect, could break out in 2024.
Yeah, I feel like there was just a lot of bad juju going on in the Cardinals camp in general. You look at his Savant page too, and you're just like, wow, there's a lot of blue. And it's really like kind of scaring. You can almost say, okay, this kid could be a bust just based off his performance. But there was a lot of stuff going on. Like guys did not perform in that club as a whole. Like Goldie had a down year, Arenado had a down year. I mean, guys couldn't stay healthy. He was being sent up and down, and dealing with that pressure alone. Things I think got in his head. I think this year's the year we see a breakout. He's also 21 years old. So I like the outlook. I like the price too. It's not astronomical. So, it's not going to hurt you too much, especially as an outfielder 3. So Jordan Walker, I think, is a breakout without a doubt. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about my boy here, Mr. Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams, another Cleveland pitcher. Just call me Matty Cleaves. I like
Should have wore a Guardians jersey, Matt.
I will never buy a Guardians jersey, but I'm not allowed to talk about that. Anyway, so my boy here was my favorite pitching prospect outside of Painter and Yuri Perez. I liked him more than Grayson Rodriguez for a lot of things, because Gavin Williams just has a lot of stuff, and Gavin Williams just really is impressive. He started off slow, funny enough, didn't really get to show off like his true demeanor, but like I feel like this year is going to be ridiculous. He figured it out at the end of the season, ended up, bringing down the ERA way down to 3.29, was able to go 82 innings, had 81 strikeouts. He pitched 60 in the minors. So he had about 140 innings pitched across the two, his highest he's ever done, and was able to get better as the season went on and packed on more of the workload. I feel like this year is a real step forward. I want to just see a little bit more. I want to see another pitch thrown in. And I want to see just a little bit more from him. But ultimately, I have him ranked pretty damn high, and I'm pretty excited too. And he also doesn't give up a lot of home runs, which really gets me excited. He just does a good job at everything all in all. It's just his whip's going to be high. Ultimately, he loves to strike guys out, so sometimes he tries to catch guys chasing. And that's the one downside for Gavin Williams this season.
Yeah, Matt, I'm on board. I'm on board the Gavin Williams train. I've been taking him in a lot of mocks. 50 seconds starting pitcher off the board for Gavin Williams. Pick 180, almost at pick 200. A lot of room to profit there off of a kid who's 6'6", monster, great extension. That fastball plays up and it already sits around 96 on average. Got good secondary stuff, as Matt mentioned. Absolutely love to see it. But guys, as I mentioned, we have 2 big young bats coming up, mashers, both on pretty good teams. We got a pitcher who left our Matt and I's Yankees, and a couple other guys we're going to try and sneak in here. But before that, we have one more ad for you guys. And guys, we're talking about Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TVs offer amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV's episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big leagues as well, including the college conferences. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game, in-depth in-game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all of the latest in the world of sports, including March Madness, NBA, MLB, and much more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos as well. Check out your Fire TV with all those Fire TV channels and on all Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV, you totally should. Trust me on this. To learn more, go to amazon.com/lockedonfiretv to get started today. Whew, all right, Matt. We did do one of your names last. I guess I'll keep pushing here. I'll do a quick little jump in here with my next guy. Let's talk about Tristan Casas, first baseman of the Boston Red Sox. I absolutely love Casas. The thing is, he was such a highly touted prospect. Took a little bit longer to get things going, but boy, when he got things going last year, he looked great. Big, another big baseball guy, 6'5", 244, lefty. I think he's going to be in the middle of that Boston lineup for years to come. Things looked decent on the year last year with the 24 homers and the 263 batting average, but where Tristan Casas really broke out was the second half last year. And during the second half last year, Casas had 54 games, 180 at-bats, 32 runs, 7 doubles, a triple, 15 homers, 38 RBIs. He had 30 walks to 50 strikeouts and hit 317. Guys, I'm telling you, this is a name that I think we're sleeping on a little bit. I know Matt and I love to hype Vinny P and CES, Christian Encarnacion Strand, but this is a guy that I really don't think we showed enough love to. I think Tristan Casas, has the power and batting average tools to be a star in this league for years to come. So make sure you get him at least one of your teams this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The kid hits the ball so hard. It's
Yes,
so
sir.
nice. Like, I love Casas. You know what it is? Every time I get the opportunity to draft him, my team construction never allows me to do it. So that's the only reason why
Same.
you haven't seen him on there. It's just the way I draft him, where his ADP is. There's just some guys you can't get on your team no matter how hard you try. So, with Casas, I would love to have him. Just doesn't fit my build most of the time. But if you do get an opportunity to draft him, you ain't going to be mad. He's going to be a stud, like Dom said. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about an outfielder here, one that I'm a big fan of, one I'm trying to draft everywhere, and that's Evan Carter. Evan Carter is just the dude, and he's not, the pop singer Evan Carter. Aaron Carter. He is the great prospect from the Rangers, 6'2", 190 pounds. Dude's a baller. He loves the ball. Had a really nice run even throughout the playoffs, even his little stint in the bigs at 62 at bats. He had 15 runs. He had 4 doubles, a triple, 5 bombs, 12 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batted 306 last year as well in that short period of time. These are things you want to see from a guy getting first licks at big league talent. Like these are things you're getting really excited for. He really could just do everything, I think, in my opinion. Like, only thing that's a little bit questionable is how many home runs is he going to hit in a single season? You know, is he going to be a 20 home run guy? Is he going to be a 25 home run guy? I think one day there might be a 30 home run season, but I think this year, if we really put our money where our mouth is, I think he's going to finish with 25 and 30. So he's going to have 25 home runs to 30 stolen bases, possibly. He has put up 26 last year and 400 at bats, so there's a world where that happens. And I like the price. I think that he's overall going to contribute in all 5 categories, and he's going at a great price. Around pick 100. He's being a little forgotten still. and I'm loving it. I'm drafting him almost every single time because of just one, the value, two, you can't really beat that. And you're getting batting average, you're getting stolen bases later in the draft from a guy that maybe has a couple questions, but I think he's pretty much proved it because he performed at the most high stakes levels in the playoffs all the way to the World Series. So Evan Carter, I feel like out of all the bats going into this year for rookies, for rookies, is the most proven case. So Evan Carter to me is an absolute steal.
Yeah, Matt, great take. Not really much else for me to say there besides he is legit super fast. So I don't, and this might be another bold prediction. Corbin Carroll why can't Evan Carter have a Corbin Carroll like rookie season? That why is that out of the question for a guy who hit 306 in 23 games and mashed in the playoffs too? I don't think that's out of the question. I think he's being undervalued right now. I've been getting him as my outfielder 3 everywhere. I know his ADP is picked 105 and 25th, outfielder off the board, but I've been getting him as my third outfielder, loving it. Let's move on to a starting pitcher. I know I teased it, left the Yankees. Unfortunately, we did get Juan Soto in that trade, but it's Michael King. Michael King honestly looked fantastic down the stretch last year for the Yankees. Absolutely loved everything that I saw for him. And I was so excited not only to go, watch him play in the Yankees uniform this year, but I was excited to take him on all my fantasy teams. And that still rings true because I think the Padres are going to have to rely on, Michael King, who, the last 3 years, all his numbers look great. So last year it was only 9 starts, but it was 49 appearances overall. 2.75 ERA for Michael King, 104 innings, 127 strikeouts, with a 1.14 whip, and his FIP was a 3.13. So you kind of just look at everything and you say, damn, this guy is pretty good. With the, the transition to be a starter, might be the only question mark there. But, a guy's got, a pretty good fastball, sits around 94, gets up a little bit higher than that, works in that slider and changeup combo. And all the pitches are very good pitches there for Michael King. Really knows how to keep batters off balance. And just somebody that I'm targeting, a lot this year. His, ADP right now is fairly reasonable. With all the injuries, we expecting any healthy starting pitcher ADP to move up. But right now, Michael King is coming off the board, 42nd starting pitcher, 144. Definitely room to profit there.
Yeah, for sure. King is awesome, and I also like the fact that he's going into San Diego's ballpark too, being able to pitch half his
Mhm.
starts there. A lot of things are just were right for him. And it's not a team upgrade, but it's a park upgrade because pitching in Yankee Stadium versus pitching there is so much better. But let me get my last guy in. Another guy that was traded. It's funny how the trends were just pretty much consistent this whole episode. But Ryan Pepiot traded, acquired for involved in the trade for Tyler Glass. Now, honestly, I think it was a mutually beneficial trade, but I feel like as fantasy owners, we got some serious value with him going there. Not just because I like Pepiot before he got traded, but also the fact that he's going to like pretty much pitcher you. And I just the upside is just absolutely there for me. He's going to be able to work with the pitching staff the whole offseason or most of it at least, and be able to develop and go for it. So like Pepiot just put on a show in his 42 innings this past year. He had what 38 strikeouts, those 42, right under a K per nine in my opinion. A 2.214 ERA with a whip of 0.76. Like, how you doing? Like, these are numbers you want. The innings pitch is going to be the concern. How many innings are they going to let him go?
Yeah.
You know, Tampa Bay loves to be a little bit more, conservative with their starting pitchers. So like maybe he sees like a buck 20, a buck 30, which ultimately I think is pretty reasonable. So how it'll probably be treated is it'll go into two ways, which depending on your league, it may be beneficial. He'll probably start off as a starting pitcher, go with, and some weeks they might even do a 6-man. Then he'll probably get an opener role. He'll probably get a middle relief role, and then probably finish out the year as a starting pitcher as well. Pepiot is going to be fantastic. He's going to suck in leagues that don't benefit from holds or things like that, but ultimately, I'm loving Pepiot this season, and I'm willing to take the chance on him all season long. Dom, your thoughts, and let's wrap up.
Love Pepiot, 56 starting pitcher off the board, pick 194. Only issue is walks with him. It's crazy. He bucked the trend of his career as soon as he got to the bigs. His control became excellent. Had some issues in the minors with walks. That's the only thing I'm going to monitor with Pepiot. But I think the draft price is fair where you're getting him. You're getting him as your SP6. That's not really a crazy risk, and the reward is going to be very high when it comes to Pepiot. But guys, that's all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Shout out to our everydays and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen every day. Make sure you get those listener league entries in on Subtext. Guys, you only have a little bit more time, 4 spots left. But guys, until tomorrow, see you.
Peace.